Gwen Stefani shutting down rumors she and Blake Shelton are getting divorced.
I was like, what? That's crazy.
Country music star Blake Shelton has left fans in tears after announcing his divorce from Gwen Stefani.
And I don't ever want anything that I ever do or say to get on the kids.
Right.
And so in that way, they've changed my life a lot.
The couple, who tied the knot in 2021, were once considered one of the most enviable couples. But now, Shelton's announcement has shattered the illusion of their seemingly perfect relationship. Join us as we uncover the details behind this news. The first steps of love. Blake Shelton's personal life has always been filled with the same kind of twists and turns that often shape his songs. His story of love began with someone he had known long before he became a country music superstar. On the 17th day of November, in the year 2003, Shelton married his longtime partner, Kynette Gurn. Their marriage was a sign of loyalty and devotion, a relationship built before the world had placed Shelton in its spotlight. Yet, only 3 years later, in 2006, their union came to an end. It was a quiet conclusion to a relationship that had carried him through the early chapters of his career. Life soon turned a new page, and fate introduced him to another woman who would shape the course of his life and music. In 2005, during CMT's 100 Greatest Duets concert, Shelton met Miranda Lambert. Their meeting was more than chance. It was the beginning of a bond that mixed music with romance. Lambert added her voice to Shelton's cover of Michael Bublé's song Home, a song that touched countless hearts and reached #1 on the Hot Country Songs chart. Their voices blended beautifully, but it was not just the music that connected them. It was also their growing affection for one another. For 4 years, they built a relationship, both on and off the stage. Then, on the 9th day of May in 2010, Shelton asked Lambert to marry him. 1 year later, on the 14th day of May in 2011, the two were wed in Bourne, Texas. The ceremony was filled with celebration, laughter, and a sense of hope for the future. Fans saw them as country music's golden couple, sharing not only love, but also their passion for music. But alongside joy came sorrow. On the 17th day of January in 2012, Shelton's father, Dick, passed away in Oklahoma at the age of 71, following a long struggle with illness. The loss weighed heavily on Shelton, stirring memories of another tragedy that had marked his youth. When he was only 14 years old, he had lost his older brother Richie in a car accident in the year 1990. These personal pains shaped Shelton's perspective on life and love. Together, Shelton and Lambert poured their grief into art. They wrote about Richie in the song Over You, performed by Lambert. The song was raw and filled with emotion, resonating deeply with listeners. It went on to receive the Country Music Association's Song of the Year award in 2012. A year later, it won even more recognition, being named both Single Record and Song of the Year at the Academy of Country Music Awards. Through music, Shelton and Lambert honored Richie's memory and transformed heartbreak into something beautiful. However, not all pain can be softened by melody. Over time, cracks began to appear in Shelton and Lambert's marriage. On the 20th day of July, in 2015, they announced that they were divorcing. It was a difficult moment, one filled with sadness, but both knew it was necessary to move forward separately. Their divorce was finalized later that very same day. The end of one chapter left his heart broken, but what he did not know was that another door was already opening, leading him to someone who would bring healing, joy, and a brand new melody to his life. A new beginning with Gwen. As the summer of 2015 unfolded, Shelton found himself working closely on the 9th season of The Voice, alongside his fellow coach, Gwen Stefani. Like him, she was also navigating the pain of a public divorce. The shared struggle drew them together, creating a bond built on understanding and empathy. Both knew the weight of broken promises, and in comforting each other, they began to build something new. Shelton later admitted that Stefani came into his life at the perfect moment, saving him when he felt lost. Their friendship quickly grew into a romance, and before long, music once again became the language through which Shelton expressed his heart. In that very same year, the couple co-wrote the song "Go Ahead and Break My Heart," a reflection of the delicate and uncertain beginning of their relationship. The duet appeared on Shelton's album If I'm Honest in 2016, marking the first of many musical projects they would share together. Over the years, Shelton and Stefani's voices became inseparable on stage and in life. In 2017, they recorded the holiday song You Make It Feel Like Christmas, a joyful tune featured on Stefani's festive album. By 2020, their love shone brighter than ever as they released 2 duets, Nobody But You and Happy Anywhere. Both songs soared to the top of the Billboard U.S. Country Airplay chart, proving that their love story resonated with audiences across the world. Shelton often reflected on how much Stefani had changed his understanding of love. In early 2020, he shared that he thought he had known love before, but it was not until she entered his life that he truly understood what it meant. Their bond grew deeper with every passing year, and on the 27th of October in 2020, after 5 years together, Shelton proposed. The proposal was deeply personal, taking place at the chapel on his Oklahoma property, with Stefani's 3 children and other family members present. The love that had begun quietly was now celebrated openly. On the 3rd of July in 2021, Shelton and Stefani were married in that same chapel, surrounded by their loved ones. Their wedding was intimate, tender, and full of the warmth of 2 people who had found one another after years of searching. Through his marriage to Stefani, Shelton became a stepfather to her 3 sons. He spoke with great affection about this role, sharing how each day he grew closer to the boys and how much joy it brought him. Being part of their lives gave Shelton a new sense of family, one that went beyond music and fame. Even as his personal life flourished, his career continued to thrive. In 2015, Forbes had estimated his yearly income at $28.5 million, showing how firmly he had established himself as both a singer and a television star. His life also held some surprising discoveries. On the 6th of June in 2017, during the airing of the HLN special Our Journeys Home, it was revealed that Shelton and host Robin Meade were distant relatives, discovered to be 4th cousins. This unexpected twist added yet another layer to his life story. Shelton's place in the country music family extended beyond his performances. On the 12th of October in 2019, he stood at the front of a wedding ceremony in New Orleans, Louisiana, not as the groom, but as the officiant. His close friend, country star Trace Adkins, married Canadian actress Victoria Pratt that day, and Shelton had the honor of guiding them into their new life together. However, things took a sudden turn when cracks began to show in his relationship with Gwen. Blake Shelton's emotional turning point. Blake Shelton has always been seen as one of the most beloved names in the world of country music. His calm nature, his warm Southern humor, and his voice filled with songs that carry both comfort and honesty have won him millions of fans. To many, he is not just a performer, but someone who brings peace through melodies that speak straight to the heart. Yet, even someone so admired is not free from moments of struggle. For Shelton, one of the hardest came after the American Music Awards. What should have been a night of celebration and applause turned instead into a storm of questions, rumors, and heavy emotions. The award show, which usually shines as a place of joy, recognition, and bright lights, became the setting of a personal battle. For Shelton, it marked the beginning of a difficult period that touched both his private life and his professional image. Instead of leaving with memories of happiness, he walked away burdened with disappointment and the weight of speculation. For fans who had already shed tears after his separation from Gwen Stefani, this latest controversy added even more pain to their story. Not long after the event ended, another update reached Shelton, one that cut deeply into his emotions. Already shaken, he found himself carrying news that left him quiet, reflective, and uncertain about what the future held. For a man who had always used music as a way to spread hope and lift spirits, this was especially heartbreaking. His songs had always been a safe place, not only for his fans, but also for himself. And now even music felt heavy with sadness. Those close to him explained that the problem did not rest on a single reason. Instead, it was a mix of struggles, both personal and professional, all coming together at once. It was a balance that had become too difficult to hold. On one side was his career, with its endless demands, expectations, and pressure. On the other was his relationship with Gwen Stefani, a world-famous pop star and his longtime partner. When the two sides clashed, the weight grew impossible to carry. And this night made that truth clearer than ever. This was not just another small controversy that would be forgotten in the busy world of entertainment. For Shelton, it was a turning point, one that showed how closely his personal life and his professional journey were tied together. The American Music Awards of the year 2025 were supposed to be just another shining moment in his long career. Instead, they became a mirror of the struggles he could no longer hide. Fans had looked forward to the event with great excitement. Many believed they would see Shelton and Stefani step out side by side. Some expected them to walk the red carpet together. Others hoped for a duet on stage that would prove their bond was still strong after years of public and private challenges. For the audience, such a moment would have been proof that their love could withstand everything. But the night did not unfold the way they imagined. As the cameras flashed and the red carpet filled with stars, Gwen Stefani appeared alone. She wore a striking metallic gown, bold and eye-catching, and she smiled with confidence as she posed for photographers. The dress sparkled, her smile shone, but the absence of Shelton quickly became the bigger story of the evening. Whispers began almost instantly. Within hours, the excitement of the award show was overshadowed by one question: why was Blake not there? Reports began to spread, hinting that there had been a disagreement behind the scenes. Some suggested Shelton had chosen not to attend after feeling caught off guard by last-minute changes. The talk was that the couple had planned to perform together, but Gwen had altered parts of the performance without informing him. What had once been meant to symbolize unity had turned into something far more complicated, carrying a message Shelton had not agreed to present to the world. When the moment finally came for Gwen Stefani to step onto the stage, the story deepened. She performed a brand new song, one she called "No Apology Required." With its powerful pop-rock sound and lyrics about betrayal, distance, and the strength to stand alone when harmony breaks apart, it captured everyone's attention. For the audience, the meaning felt clear. With rumors already swirling, it was almost impossible not to connect the song's message to her relationship with Shelton. Through it all, Blake faced even more challenges. Yet his response left fans completely surprised. Blake Shelton's silent struggle. In the days after the American Music Awards, conversations everywhere seemed to circle around Blake Shelton and Gwen Stefani. Social media pages were crowded with questions, comments, and theories. Some fans worried that the bond they had once admired was now reaching its end. Others wondered if Gwen's performance on stage had been her way of sending a hidden message that only Blake and perhaps the world could understand. Many turned their attention to Blake himself, asking why he had decided not to appear at the event and why he had chosen to remain so quiet when the rumors were growing louder by the hour. That silence did not last for long. On Tuesday morning, Blake finally stepped forward with a short online note. Rather than clearing the air, his message hinted that sometimes silence can say more than any song. It was a small gesture, yet it carried a heavy weight. Fans immediately saw through the words, recognizing that he was hurting. Their responses flooded in quickly, filled with encouragement, support, and heartfelt concern. Yet while Blake had opened a small window into his feelings, Gwen chose to remain silent. Her quietness created even more questions about where they stood, leaving the public wondering if the gap between them was growing wider. As all of this was unfolding in public view, Blake found himself facing another setback, one that cut even deeper. His record label announced that his much-anticipated album, Backroads and Heartaches, would not be arriving as planned. The album, set for release in June of the year 2025, had been described as his most personal work yet. It was meant to carry songs filled with emotion, built from stories of love, loss, and the kind of reflection that only time can create. For Blake, this was more than just another collection of music. It was his way of speaking his heart, sharing the lessons and feelings that had shaped his recent years. The label's choice to delay the project was not made lightly. They worried that the ongoing drama surrounding Blake and Gwen would overshadow the music itself. Instead of allowing listeners to hear the songs with clear minds, the focus would drift back to the controversy. By holding the album back, the label hoped that the storm would pass and that Blake's music could be embraced for what it truly was. Still, for Blake, this decision was painful. He had poured himself into those songs, leaning on music as he always had during difficult times. To know that even this safe space was slipping away felt like a loss he was not prepared to carry. Friends close to Blake have grown more concerned as the days continue. They describe him as someone who rarely shows the depth of his struggles in public. He smiles, he jokes, and he carries on. But beneath it all, the weight is real. This is not only about the awards show or the delay of an album. It is about a deeper fear that his story, both as an artist and as a man, is slipping out of his control. Blake has known heartbreak before. The end of his marriage to Miranda Lambert in the year 2015 was one of the hardest moments of his life, lived under the full glare of the public eye. Yet, those who stand by him now say this feels different. Many had believed that his relationship with Gwen was a steady anchor, one that had weathered storms and stood the test of time. To see old doubts resurface, the kind marked by hidden meanings in songs and red carpet absences, has made this new chapter especially painful for him. While Blake struggles with these emotions, Gwen has continued to stay silent. Some believe this is a thoughtful choice, a way of letting the attention fade naturally without adding more sparks to the fire. Others suggest that she may be using this time to reshape her public image, reminding people that she is more than half of a well-known couple. Her performance at the American Music Awards seemed to hint at that possibility. With its strong energy, It reminded fans of her earlier solo years, carrying echoes of her bold beginnings. Cultural voices have pointed out that Gwen has always been able to shift her image when needed. This may be her way of stepping into a new era, one that gives her more freedom as an artist and as an individual. If so, then separating from the idea of being only part of a country pop power pair could very well be part of her plan. But how do you think Blake will recover from all this? Keep on watching to find out more. Blake Shelton's healing journey. Right now, Blake Shelton is spending most of his days at his ranch in Oklahoma, far away from the noise of fame. He has chosen a life of calm, where he can focus on writing songs and living simply. Surrounded by family and nature, he finds strength in the quiet routines that keep him grounded. Friends say he is pouring his energy into the things that bring him peace, though they admit this may be one of the toughest emotional battles he has faced in many years. Blake has always carried his pain with a mix of humor and charm, but this time, the weight feels heavier. Even so, there is a spark of hope. His most powerful music has often come from times of sadness and heartbreak, and many believe this season may inspire songs that touch hearts even more deeply. Fans are waiting eagerly, hoping his struggles will be transformed into art that speaks to the emotions they too have felt. So far, Blake has not shared any updates about his delayed album or his relationship with Gwen Stefani, but his history shows that he has always risen after difficult moments. His audience trusts that once again he will turn sorrow into strength through music. For years, people have found comfort in his songs, and now they feel it is their turn to give him support. Through love and encouragement, his fans are standing by, ready to walk with him through this chapter of his life. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, and also click the next video shown on your screen.